spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
Hi.
There's one coming on and you're dancing too.
All right, I gotta adjust this.
Hello, welcome to the Magical Mofos. I am Diane Latte of soulrestoration.ca.
And I am Althea Montgomery from creativeclearings.com.
Yeah.
My headset stopped working immediately after we were just chatting, so hopefully you can hear me because it's
fantastic. I can hear you, but yeah, we do always have a bit of a delay because we're Skyping, going on YouTube Live, and doing radio all at once. So,
yes, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Ready.
I was going to say, when you said, and I'm Althea Montgomery, I was like, yes, you are.
I am. My tongue got all tripped up. I'm like, I feel naked without my headset. I feel weird, but it's okay. I always feel weird,
What are you? I know Bill said you had a headset problem. I said, you got a head case problem?
Always. Yeah, it just stopped working. So as long as you guys can hear me, I can hear you just fine, actually. So.
Oh, you're just like on the computer. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, can totally hear you. So let's just remind people of the phone number if you'd like to call in. So Althea and I do clearing work. I guess guidance. We don't predict the future, but we can help you create a better one. How's that? That's a good line.
That's even better. Yes, that's awesome. Call in just for that.
Yeah, right? Creating the future you desire is a lot better than predicting something based on...
Something you can't change it.
Yeah. There. So the number to call in is 602-666-6027. And, we have Aliyah. We always have like things that we'd like to discuss. So we'll park that because usually they end up coming out in our sessions with people anyway. So we've got Aliyah, I guess probably the same lady who called last week from New York. So let's talk to her. Hey, Aliyah, how are you?
Hello. Hi, I'm well. That was fun. It just sort of unmuted me. Hello.
Yes, that's our magical Bill. That's what he does.
Well, it's lovely to hear your voices.
So how have you been? What would you like to, where are you at this week?
I'm in a really wonderful place. I mean, there's a lot going on, of course, in our, I'd be remiss not to acknowledge the madness that's happening in Las Vegas. And so I just briefly want to acknowledge, that we've had souls depart. But outside of that, I purposely have not had on the news because I've on purpose wanted to just keep my energy space clear and not try to solve.
Can I interrupt you for a second? And before we get to whatever you want to work on, why probably get in trouble for saying this, but Althea's like, do it. Why feel the need? And this is not for you specifically, but I think it's interesting when people feel the need to acknowledge it. Like, does it make somebody a bad person for not acknowledging that something's happened? Like, I just find it's an interesting thing that people feel they need to do. Like you can't just come on and say, I had a great week,
Yeah.
And I guess the reason I'm mentioning it is that we very often will stop ourselves, we limit ourselves, we diminish ourselves, we lessen ourselves to not outshine and outcreate other people. or to not make other people feel bad. And to me, it's that same sort of dynamic that comes into play where we're like, well, I can't come on here and say I had a really great week when something terrible happened last night. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I really had a great week. And and on a personal note, now I can't hear Althea. What did she say?
I said,
she said, how dare you have a great week.
Thanks to your help.
I'm the angel on your shoulder, and she's the demon on your shoulder.
I'm like, switch roles each week.
So, no, I had a really great week. I did have some energetic clearing last week, and one of the things that I found interesting is not only did I feel lighter and more clear, and really paying attention to just my awareness, I had one individual just sort of spring back out of the blue into my life, like making large statements like, whoa, what's going on? Haven't heard from you in like 90 days. You know? And I thought that. What did she say?
I said it's 90 days expiration. I was just kidding. Just messing around.
But outside of that, I was challenged, I think, on Thursday. The job that I currently have is challenging me, telling me that I'm much bigger than what that job offers and that I should be out doing something else, and really they don't think it's a good fit and that I have so much more that I can be doing in my life. Well, she's telling me stuff that I already know. However, I want to keep that job for a while. So I had to do my best in terms of selling. It's a retail sales job. High commission, like $240,000 a month kind of a deal. And I was basically being threatened or encouraged to leave, really, as opposed to really giving it a good shot. So that was kind of a bummer, but at the same time, it was like very inspiring at the same.
Are they not happy with your performance?
Well,
or is it like a personality conflict?
No, when you're not making your goals, it strictly comes down to the numbers.
Okay, so basically they were giving you some sort of fluffy story instead of just, yeah, we think you would be happier somewhere else, instead of just saying we don't like you're like, instead of just, being straight with you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, she was pretty straight. She was like, I think you've done so much in your life. I mean, if you look at your resume, I mean, there's so much talent that you have. I mean, she's telling me all the stuff that I know, and I know that's a position that I'd like to have for a while. But I know what I'm capable of. There are certain things in my life, entertainment, that I've not pursued fully. And so it's around me, but there's something there that I'm not quite. So I'm figuring it out. Does that make sense?
Okay. Or do you still have the job, or did they fire you?
I do.
Okay.
No, I still have the job.
Okay. So let me just ask you a few things, and then I'll throw it over to Althea if you've got something. But how many points of views do you have about what you can and can't do, and how many things you can do at the same time?
Oh, interesting.
So it's like this sort of separation of, or polarity, or I have to be doing this or that, right? So if I'm doing this job, working for these people, I can't be doing this, or I'm not the contribution that I could be being, because there's all of this that I could be offering or being in the world, but I'm doing this instead. And so there's this kind of like separation around that. And what if you could just be all of it?
No, so here's what you don't know about me. I'm usually all of it. So I'm exhausted by being all of it. So I run a children's foundation, and then I'm helping to develop a stage on the West Side, and I get pulled in all these different directions.
So are you, and when you're doing all of those things, are you in your awareness of what you should be, what's actually contributing to you? You know what I mean? Like, you also have to be, it's not about being all of it without having any discernment, without having any awareness of what's a good choice for you in that moment or not. So in those times where so there's a few things in those times when you've been all of it and you like burnt out or you got tired, were all of the things that you were doing things that you really desire to be doing?
Yes, absolutely. So, but then so I say absolutely because, well, let me clarify that. Interesting. I started this position in May. Before that, I was absolutely 100% doing what I love, which was I was producing and working with people and putting a project together. I was in a zone. That was everything that if you could ask me when I was a little kid growing up what I wanted to do, I was in it. Project didn't work out. I fell back on retail. So when I say absolutely meaning I'm really good at sales. I usually soar and do very well. It's always my fallback. So there's a yes and no answer in there. And because it was it came right at the right time, my project wasn't moving forward, and it gave me income, I didn't associate and realize that I was depressed and sad about and heartbroken that my project hadn't gone through. And retail was like the last place I wanted to be. You know what I mean? So once I became clear and aware that I was walking around with potentially sabotaging the very job that I had, then I switched gears because I like the job. It pays me well. It allows for me to live my lifestyle. But at the same time, it's wildly taxing. I mean, it's not like anything I've ever done before. I love the challenge of it, but it's starting to feel more and more like, okay, this isn't it either. I'm not supposed to retire here.
Right. And so when I'm saying you can be all of the things, what I mean is that you don't have to live in an either or reality where it's either the kind of project that you love or the fallback of the retail job. You can, sort of bring you into that retail job to, do it the way you desire to do it. It doesn't have to be taxing. Like what can you bring to it so that it's not taxing, right? Like that's just your state of mind, really, that it's taxing. And at the same time, you can be looking for other opportunities and asking the universe for other opportunities. And you know what I mean? Like that's kind of where it's going with. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Althea, did you want to jump in?
Basically just picking up on the same thing that you're getting, that there's definitely an energy there of things, why do things have to be taxing? And it's really important to check in with ourselves to make sure what we're doing is in alignment with what we really want. And it's not just one time you do that. You want to check in regularly. You don't just go, okay, I'm committed to doing this, and then you're just stuck with it for the rest of your life. These things change. That's what we're talking about here, is clearing and making the space so that you can choose things and choose other things and expand and grow, and that you're not stuck. It's just the point of view that doing so many things is exhausting. I've had that a lot, but we're amazing, infinite beings, and you've done it, but what if you can do it in a different way? Whatever was exhausting you, we can pluck that out, and just catching yourself whenever you go back into that story of, oh, this is too much for me. Maybe when you're getting that it's too much for you, it might be that there's something there that you really don't want to do anymore, but you're not admitting it. That's what's happened to me before.
Okay, so that's more like it, because it is physically almost impossible to achieve what is expected in one day. And so when I say taxing, literally my wrists hurt because of the amount of emails that come. But the time I'm making an email, I've lost track of focus on the door, and you lose that sale, and it's like, it's just too much. Now, there are people who do that that's their living. They do that, and they're great. I mean, they make six figures. It happens. But that's all that they've been doing. Like, a couple of people have been there for 20 years. They know how it works. And I'm really like, okay, I had no idea it would be this complicated. And I'm used to doing more than one thing at a time.
Yeah.
I've always done multiple things at a time and found a balance and ways of balancing them out. And I think you're right. I think it's that I don't want to do it anymore. That's also making it more stressful. I mean, really stressful.
Yeah, and that's where I was getting at, is that there's sometimes we don't want to do things, right? And we have all of these things, and we're multitasking, and the getting tired could be that you're doing something you don't desire to do, which is why I was asking you that. And sometimes it's that we're picking up on these other points of views that when you're multitasking, you're going to get tired, right? Like, so people will project their stuff onto me because I work for somebody else. I have my own business. I have a family. I do this. I do all of these things. Oh, you must be so tired. Keep your projections to yourself. Thank you very much. I'm fine. So, like, there's so many. See, I told you, Althea, that would come out.
Yes.
I was a little bit riled up today about people projecting their crap onto everybody else. But yeah, there's a lot of that in the world. There are a lot of points of views in the world about, the limits that we should have to how much we should be doing and all of that nonsense. So that's why the questions are, like, is this something that you truly want to be doing, or is it that you're...
Yeah, I absolutely know that it's not what I probably should be doing. Everything she said was right. So I've been literally walking around the house my last couple of days off, just asking the universe and asking myself, like, okay, what is it? What is it that you really want? Because,
So how could you make this the most fun, the most pleasant, the most invigorating? I don't know why that word just came out, but the most invigorating, right? I don't know.
Because she's tired. She needs some invigoration.
Because it's the opposite of tired, exactly.
Oh, that's a whole other show. Excuse me. But what would it take, for you to be more of you in this position while you're looking for something else? And I mean, listen, if you have the awareness that you have to leave in order to find something else, then do that. Be in the awareness of it. Like, don't, take for granted what I'm saying, but we often have this idea that, once we know something isn't right for us, we have to leave right away, and otherwise
I don't feel that way.
Yeah, exactly. So then the question is how do I make this the most fun it can be? And how can you exponentialize? Like, even if you know that that's not where you want to be and you don't want to, like, live out your career there, you can still, what if, what, maybe you have capacities in there that you haven't really allowed yourself to tap into. Right. And if you're good at multitasking normally, like, so, and it just looks different there, now that you have the awareness that it's not the job that you desire, or, that you'd like something else. Okay. So have fun with it now and make it fun. And how can you make them more money than anybody else has made there? Right. Mm-hmm. Like, what if you tapped into how good you could be at it, how you could outcreate everybody and make it fun.
So that's so that I took that in on Friday and Saturday, that mentality. I drew like my dress, my makeup, my hair, everything. And everybody had something to say. My clients had the most fun. Everybody had something to say about what I had on. And then a star walked in, like an actor, and he was shopping with a woman, and he worked with me, and he had a blast. And I was totally in my element, and I was totally comfortable. And I walked away thinking to myself, and that's interesting, because if I get called in for that particular role and he's in the room, he'd probably say now, hey, wait a minute, like, she's amazing. I just had the best time with her. Da, 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 da. So that was kind of an eye-opener. Like, there's so much that can happen, and I'm really just like, I have heightened awareness in terms of listening right now.
Cool. So is there something that you want to, I just processed you something that you didn't need to be processed on, so that's great. So is there something that you would like to work on, or?
I mean, for sure, more clarity around.
Or did you want to just share how great your week was? Because that's okay too.
No, I am curious about when you're clearing, and things that you thought were cleared circle back and pop back up in your world, like.
Because oftentimes you go right back into it, recreating it. Remember that conversation? That's why it's called awareness. This is what I'm doing. This is creating crap I don't like. Maybe I can stop that and do something else. It's so simple, yet it is daily. It's a practice. It's awareness. Ask for more awareness. We play games with ourselves all the time, You had so many awesome awarenesses this week.
Say that
again?
I've
had that question too. I was just going to say I've had that question in the past as well, because with doing EFT, I've done EFT for a really long time, and when you do EFT on memories, for example, once you've cleared the memory, it pretty much goes away, unless there's an element of it that we haven't worked on, that we haven't tapped on, then that might, come up. But the stuff that's been worked on, it's gone, and it doesn't come back up again. But the thing around clearing, clearing stuff that you're aware of, the thing is what you're picking up on, right? If what is happening with you, if what you're experiencing is you perceiving something that's out in the world, it's still out in the world. So you might clear it and then become aware of it again, and then think it's yours again.
Take it on as yours. Yep.
Oh, okay. Let me just be very clear. Like about 90 days ago, a guy that I've, has been in my life for a long time, basically, I was like, okay, what are we doing here? Because I don't want to really keep playing this game. And he's like, well, I'm still kind of into seeing other people. And I'm like, okay, well then do your thing, because I'm not really into sharing.
Is this the guy that we talked about last week?
Nope.
Oh.
And because again, this is 90 days ago.
Oh, right. Sorry. Okay.
So anyways, he comes back around on Saturday, and I'm getting like these flirtatious texts, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's talking about being committed, and like, he's ready to have, permanency. And I'm like, whoa, who's talking to you right now? Because this does not sound like you. And it was just really confusing to me. And I couldn't help but think, sometimes when certain chords you cut, they feel it, they feel the disconnection, and then they circle back. So I just wanted to clarify, like, is that what's happening? Or did we clear so much of the gook that was around me that he can actually see me? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I'll let Althea, not like I'm letting you say anything, but I'm curious to know what you have to say. But my reaction to that would be, does it really matter? Like, does it really matter what the reason is? He's come back, and then you have a choice to make, right? Following your awareness of whether.
Yeah. But it's like, but Althea,
now I don't know if Althea has an actual answer to your question. Mine's kind of a non-answer, but.
No, yours was an answer. I'd love to hear what you were going to say. Can you please finish that before I...
here's what I was going to say. So everything, like, I have felt, as I mentioned before, so free, so light. I haven't had a drink. I mean, I just have, like, I realized a lot of the clearing, my confidence, my love, everything is totally, there was a shift. this individual, though, is now like hanging out in my awareness, and I'm kind of annoyed by it. Like, okay, what are you doing? Why are you here? What is it? And
right, but then
it's a
that's
bit
the thing.
distracting.
Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why he's come back. If you're not interested, then just tell him you're not interested.
Yeah, I mean, you said you're annoyed. I mean, that's kind of not what you're going for in a relationship, I'm guessing.
Right.
Right? That's your clue right there.
I'm annoyed because it just seems like more of the same. Just something to, like, you know, play with me a little bit, pull a couple of strings to keep me somehow connected. And so,
Follow that awareness. There's something there where you're like waiting, almost like you're obligated to be nice to this person and give them some of your time, and like, oh, let me see what they're doing. And even asking us, it's the energy, and I've done that before too, where it's like, oh, well, what if they have changed, and what if they are nicer? All the while you're feeling annoyed and feeling like, no, my awareness is telling me it's the same old crap.
Yeah.
Yes. Go with that.
That's right. Go with that one.
See,
okay.
That thing that Althea wanted to talk about is coming up.
The awareness stuff, yes.
Which is about following your awareness. It's anyway. I mean, it sounds almost like you're pulling the strings too. So, cut the strings. If you're not interested, you're not interested. It doesn't matter why he's come back. Like, it's just, then you're just distracting yourself with and playing with that. Right?
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Good deal. Okay.
Yeah, we make things so meaningful, and we like to play with these distractions, and it's cool. Like, if we, but then just, you can choose not to.
90-day expiration.
There we go.
It's expired.
Hey, follow that awareness. Move him out. Someone else is swooping in. Like,
and what if you, and what if you, that annoyance, if you're annoyed because when you were interested, he was playing the field, and now he's coming back and asking for a second chance, and wow,
sorry, that was really loud. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm wondering how much, and I'm not telling you to go against your awareness in any way, but I'm just wondering about clearing the annoyance so that isn't there anymore, because there's really no need to hang on to any of that. You just have the awareness.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's his choice, and he chose that. Now he's choosing this, and he's allowed to choose that, and so then you're allowed to make your choice, and there's nothing more than that necessary, right? So I wonder how much of that annoyance is what you think your reaction should be, what the expected reaction would be to something like that. Because I'm even aware for myself, I will often sort of almost perceive something come up inside of me that I'm like, well, why am I feeling? And it's, this is how people usually feel. This is how people usually function. Oh. And I have the awareness of it, so I can be like, no, I don't need to go into that. Right? So, right? Yep. So, like, do you need to be annoyed by the fact that he wasn't into it and now he is, or he says he is, and all of that nonsense? Like, what if you just let that go and just be an allowance for his choices and your choice, and just be like, okay, done.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Althea was trying to say something.
Oh, it's just that interesting energy. The annoyance comes across as like still anywhere that you feel that you're obligated to talk to him, give him any of your time. And that feels frustrating and annoying. Just do the chop and drop. Just get him going. He needs to go. Like, the chop and drop, yes. You know that you're not feeling right about it, and you don't want this. This is already in your awareness, and it's cool. We can reconfirm what we're picking up around it, but please follow your own intuition, because the thing is, what I was mentioning to Diane earlier is, how many times have we not been in our awareness, but we acted like we were, we told ourselves we were, we even played the victim too, but it was this way, and then someone poses the question, Now, was there a time, any point in time or multiple points in time, where something felt off to you in any given situation? And the answer is always, yep, I knew it. I knew it and I did it anyway. And that's fine too. Don't judge yourself. But just having more of that awareness of, I know where that road leads. If you don't want to go that way, turn the other way. Say, you're not obligated to go that way. I don't owe you anything. And that's not the way I want to go. I don't want to go down that path anymore. But we lie to ourselves and act like, oh, yeah, it was this. And they smiled and they seemed really nice. All the while my stomach was sick every time I was around them.
Right. Right.
My own personal.
And sometimes the annoyance that we're annoyed that we have to say no. We're annoyed that they've put us in a situation where we have to be the asshole and we have to say no and we have to be unkind. And sometimes that's the annoyance. And I'm not saying that that's what it is for.
I said, be the asshole. I just wanted to say asshole twice. Yeah, that's very true. Good point. That's very, very true. I've been in that a lot. I don't want to be the asshole, but I will if I have to. So yeah, that annoyance will come up of like, don't they get it? Why are they putting me in this situation? Yeah. That may or may not be how you're feeling. Yeah.
And whatever the reason is for the annoyance, you can just chop and drop.
Yes, chop and drop
it.
It really is that simple. We overcomplicate things. You just choose to be like, okay, I'm done talking to this person. I don't owe them anything. And also the other thing with the job, anywhere that you feel guilty or anywhere you feel that comes up over the next few days, possibly, that you feel guilty for not wanting to be there anymore. Let that go, because there's that energy of, oh, I shouldn't. I should be grateful I have a job, even though I hate this place. Squish it down. Nope, suck it up, kid.
Can I say
someone that you don't like it frees it up.
Althea, don't you think, Althea, that's a very female point of view? Like, we should just be grateful for stuff. Like, I should be grateful that this man wants to be with me.
Yeah.
That's a very female, right?
Well, you both bring up, and I was just thinking about the job, Althea, when you brought that up. And one of the things that I'm becoming aware of is that the manager doesn't like me. And I'm okay with it. I get it. I mean, I kind of get it. In my interview with her, in my initial interview, it took 3 months and 7 interviews and I got the job. Well, she said to me, who starts a foundation? Like, who does that? Like, whatever. And it's just like there's this underlying type of envy that I feel. And the way that she was speaking to me on Thursday, I felt like she was looking straight through me, like maybe she has insight, right? And she's saying all these things that are true in a good way about me. And I said, but you say this like you know it. How do you know that? And she goes, well, I just know things or whatever. And so I'm dancing around with this one individual who on the floor and in the environment has to be and is very gracious and nice and accommodating. But when I go into an office with she and another manager, she's vicious. And that's what's made it, of course, you're right, like more taxing or complicated because I'm no longer happy doing it. But I'm doing it. So that individual is, I get the sense that she's under a lot of pressure and that she's in fear of her job. And so I'm kind of aware of that. And so I try not to take anything of what she's giving me too personal. Mm-hmm. Because when she said to me the other day, and frankly, I don't really think you can sell. I thought, oh, wow, okay, now she's not, that's not true. Like that I know is not true. Like I'm an incredible salesperson. And so I wouldn't allow her to. What if you
stopped giving her any power?
And that's, yeah. And help me understand what you mean by that. Because I know what you mean, but I want to make sure that I'm.
So would you be willing to release everywhere that you're giving her more power than you're giving to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So what are we going to do, Althea? Boom.
We're going to go boom.
Ooh.
Woo!
Ooh.
Get your power back.
Wow.
Claim it back.
So, listen, that doesn't mean that you don't respect. Oh, we've got Gren and Emma. That's all our regulars. We're going to have a party. It doesn't mean that you don't respect, if she's your boss or something. That's not what that's about. Sometimes you have to play the game. It's just that but there's giving somebody power over you or giving somebody some of your power. That's a different thing. And we do that with people, no matter what the hierarchy is. The hierarchy has nothing to do with who we're giving people, power to over us.
I don't want her to give her power over me.
Right. So then it shouldn't matter to have the awareness that it's not about you is great. Honestly, it's never about us.
I'm like salivating over this one. I haven't leaned into the camera. You don't want to give her power? Did you even hear your voice and the energy of that? I don't want to give her my power. Then stop doing it.
Yeah.
Take it back. Stop making her problems your problems. I know you like to heal people and take on their stuff. We all get caught up in that sometimes. Be more aware of when you're making other people's problems your problems. You can't be there to invite other people to a different reality if you're dropping down into Poopville with them. Just catch it when you're doing that and stop. And watch the dynamics between you two will change because she knows she can't talk to you that way anymore. And you're not going to just take that energy from her anymore. You're standing in your full power. You got to just be aware of it on a regular basis because people will test our boundaries and try to manipulate us. It's just part of life. You don't need to be mad
at them.
You
can actually just let it go right through you.
Yeah.
Like if you're not in resistance of what she's saying, if you're not resisting what she's saying, you just...
Yeah, don't take it as your own.
Don't give it any power. Yeah.
It's not your job to fix her, help her, or even see her in that way. Like I'm tapping
job is to sell.
These energies, so. Yeah, your job's to sell and show her you're the best darn salesperson ever. Because you are.
Yes.
Right?
Because I am.
And don't sabotage being the best friggin' salesperson because you're playing some kind of game with her.
Yes, true.
Right.
Yep.
That you're making her right or wrong or whatever. Just do the thing that you do so well, apparently. Just do it.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much.
It's a joy. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Bill, let's throw both Emma and Grant on at the same time. Because Grant called in first, but Grant just likes to chat, right?
I would say that's probably accurate.
That's what you said.
Like music all over the place here. Can you hear me or not?
Yeah, we can hear you. And is Emma on too?
Emma is on.
Hi, Emma.
Ooh.
Wow, that was an interesting voice.
That was awesome.
Can I throw something into the party bag for a second?
Yeah.
I was just listening to the last part of what you're saying with the girl. And maybe I might not be accurate here, but I kind of felt like maybe her boss was a little bit envious of her magnetic personality. And
she mentioned that.
On some level. Did she say that? Yeah, because it seemed more like she was putting her own insecurity onto her. That's just what I picked up the last part of it. And she should just let it go.
Yeah, she had that awareness.
Yeah, because then she'd start contorting herself at work and not being as successful because she's let those thoughts penetrate her own self-perception.
Yeah. So how are you two doing?
Good.
Well, if we want to continue with the talk of that other thing, it's like the comment that really got me was the idea of,
Well, can I just
what was
say
it you
something?
put? Sorry. Yeah,
Can I
sure.
just say something before? I'm okay with us talking about the issues that might have come up, but not talking about her particular situation, if that's okay. Just because she's not on, and I just think it's not cool to. Does that
I'm
make
100% with you on that.
Yeah, perfect.
It was just, actually, the awareness is leaving me now.
Oh, damn! When that happens.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I had a male quirk come up, and it's like, wait a minute. And so it was like, being a male side, it would have been my side on that. But yeah, it's gone now.
Oh,
Sorry,
is that
I'll
when
leave
I
that.
said
Okay.
that it was a very? Was that when I said it was a kind of a female thing to feel like we should be appreciative of whatever's thrown our way? Was it that?
Yeah, because from a male point of view, it's like, wait a minute. It's like, yeah, the idea. Because, I'm sure the guys have a similar idea. It's like, oh, wait a minute. It's like, this is a two-way street, right? But so obviously something came up for me on that. But, we don't need to talk about that right now.
Oh, we can talk about you, Grant.
I think we do. We really do. Well, that takes it out of what she was even saying. She was referring to, females in general feeling like, or playing the role that, we have to just be appreciative and grateful for everything that's thrown our way. And then we added in, because I was really getting that the man that came back after 90 days, that's like, we're supposed to just sit around like a puppy. And does he like me or does he not like me? I don't even think I really like him, but I need to wait to see if he really, really likes me, because if he really likes me, then maybe I'm supposed to like him too. So I don't think
that's yeah.
Go ahead.
And that's the dynamic that's very common for women, I think, Grant, is what we were saying.
Well, is it the case that if the guy likes you, the girl has to like him back? Because if it is, I tell you, I've been playing this long.
That doesn't never happen for me.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's the sort of, I don't know how else to explain it. It's just the kind of underlying place that we function from, right? Like it's this kind of.
I've had this discussion. I've had this discussion before, and Grant knows this too, and Diane knows that I have felt very obligated to like guys that have liked me. And if I didn't, what ended up happening was they would kind of turn on me like a wild dog, and then suddenly I was being called names, or I was told that I was unfeminine. So nothing against men, because of course men are going to have a different side of it, but we're referring to how women do often feel like they're supposed to be pleasant and, take whatever's given to them, and that it's polite to like guys back, even if you don't, and to let him lead the way, and it can set up a really weird dynamic. But I'm certain that men have their own side where they feel strange about what women do too. So that, I don't think that was really what we were getting at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like, and by the way, we've got Ali on maybe too. Now we've got a 5-way party going on. But I'm not saying like I'm married. I didn't marry a man because he liked me and I felt like I had to like him. It's not like it doesn't. I'm sure maybe for some people it goes that far. Like somebody who really has no self-esteem might be like, well, I'm just going to be with them because they like me. Some people have that idea that, but he loves me. He still treats me like shit and I don't really like him, but he loves me, therefore I have to be with him. Like that happens. And so it is triggered
by this, call in please.
Yeah.
Anyone in this situation now, please call in.
Talking about this for some reason. But yeah, it's not, we don't necessarily act on it, Grant, but it's I would say a prevalent just sort of underlying thing that I think a lot of women function from, that we should just be grateful for whatever, and I mean, I've had men actually speak to me like that. Like I remember, God, it was a long time ago. It was before I got married. I remember being in a bar and dancing, and this guy approached me, and I have a tattoo on my shoulder, and he from behind came over and moved the strap of my tank top or whatever I was wearing to see my tattoo. And I kind of whirled around and I was like, don't just touch me. Like, you haven't even talked to me and you're pulling my thing over. And he jumped into like, I must be a lesbian because I wasn't interested in him. And I was like, wow, like, not that that's, I'm not offended by that, but it's this whole idea. Like, if you're not grateful for the attention of this man, then there's something wrong with you. And that's just something that's so pervasive, Grant, that we deal with all the time.
Well, what I was trying to bring forward is that, and I don't know if I'm just not the average guy, but like if I'm interested in someone and they're not interested in me, I would prove with the honesty. It's like, you know what? It's like, you're all sweet and all, Grant, but not for me. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know why, but that just really came forward strong as a, wait a minute. And I don't know if that is just me or if, other guys would be, it's like, no, you need to, because I've showed you attention, you need to go and actually be nice to me and bow down or whatever else. But anyways, that's besides. Well, anyways, that was just my bone I had to throw out.
There's everybody, right? All of them exist.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Can I jump in?
So switching the topic.
Yeah. No, wait. Emma, was that Emma or who's jumping in?
Yeah. This is me. I'm jumping in. I would probably say the past week, I think a topic that's been really like the thing with gender roles, and I just like noticed my sister as well. She would say, "Yeah, all women do this, Emma," and I'm like, "Hang on." Sarah, my sister's name is Sarah. I'm like, "Sarah, have you noticed I do have tits? I am a woman. I don't do that." And I'm like, you can't like just generalize and say all women do this and all men do that. And she was always saying to me, yeah, all men are dogs and all men are this, and you like just all these opinions. And I think, well, I've met types of people that, so I've experienced both women and men who have that expectation around offering attention. And if you don't give it, and it's more about what they're wanting from you. Hang on, that's not accurate. Yeah, so it's not, and then I meet beautiful men who don't have that arrogant, self-righteous feeling. Yeah, so I think it's more about that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I wasn't making absolute, and I wasn't making absolute statements. This came through with when we were working. When we were talking to Aaliyah about what was coming up. It doesn't mean that it exists all the time. And I'm going to segue, Emma, into one of the things I wanted to talk about at the beginning of the show, which was...
Go for it.
People throwing around absolutes. It really is pissing me off today. And it's really like in my face that like, people make these comments about, especially when tragedies happen, but it happens all the time. So there's an absolute for you, but it happens all the time that people will be like, oh, that's terrible. That's like if someone dies or a pet dies or something, and people will throw around these comments like, that's the worst thing that can happen, or that's always difficult, or you're gonna have that forever. That never heals. Like that kind of trauma with you forever. And I'm like, stop. I don't want those projections. Like, I deal with things a different way. Maybe I am not like, oh, the whole world is grieving. So
no.
Slow your roll.
I know.
Right?
I know.
And then we get all of these projections thrown onto us. It's like, and then we're wondering why we're like, swimming in these pools of poo. It's because it's thrown at us. Like, stop projecting your poo at me. Like, I don't want it. Anyway, I finally got it out. I said it. I'm happy.
But I'll throw in something really quick, and then I'll remember that there's more than one person in the room that isn't me who wants to speak. Like, what I think I woke up feeling the same. I woke up, I felt great, and for whatever reason, I open social media and I let, like, people who are usually sharing lots of positive things, and I'm not perfect. When I've got an irritation about something, I share stuff that's not always high. Did you know I'm not perfect? And but these people who really usually are in a wavelength that I really resonate with, they're making comments like, if your spirituality it makes you turn away from tragedy and not grieve, or like with that implication of not feel bad and not feel traumatized, then you're lost. And I was just thinking, that is so untrue. And I felt so angry. And the anger was because it's not true and it's not mine.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many of us have moved into such a different paradigm or way of looking at things where we know that's not the way to move forward. And it's like this, it's becoming obvious. This is not right. Anyway, that's what I feel. I'm going to sit back now.
I'll sit back down now.
Literally, I'm in my chair and my chest is like half a meter forward. All right, okay, Emma, sit back.
No, I absolutely agree. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, Aliyah, go ahead after. I was just going to say I was super cranky this morning until I sort of became aware that my awareness, my allowance had contracted. So my allowance of the world around me had contracted with sort of the energy of what was going on. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to expand that back out, because I'm not, this is not enjoyable for me to be in this sort of contracted space, right? So you've got to kind of, that's, I'm glad I didn't see that message, because.
I did lose a little bit.
Awful, mean, awful people. You should be grieving. It's mean, awful.
No. So, like when
like
someone
a guilt trip,
tells me,
it's the weirdest guilt trip ever. That, like, even when my mom passed away, there were so many people telling me how I was supposed to grieve my mom or not grieve my mom.
Exactly.
I had like 4 days, 3 days. You'll never get over it. And I'm like, oh my God, all of this is awful. Like, what do I want here? How do I want to process this? Because it's not about us saying that. I don't believe that Diane is saying at all that don't feel feelings. And, if you see a tragedy happen right in front of you, you're supposed to just keep on whistling zippity-doo-dah. But it's not that at all. It's not getting locked into that stuff.
That's
letting yourself feel it however you feel it, but not forcing yourself to do things and grieve things in a way that other people tell you that you should. And also, if you're not directly involved, the best way we can help is to stay in a good vibration. We don't help people by dropping down there. And so I wanted to make that clear, that we're not saying, turn into cold-hearted, robots. Not that at all.
Yeah.
But what do you require? If you feel affected by it, then grieve too. But do you have to get stuck in that, or is someone else telling you how to do it? Just be nice to yourself.
It's like when someone shares either that they have cancer or something awful's happened, I say to them, I appreciate you sharing that with me. I'm not going to have much of an emotional reaction, because I'd rather not put negative vibrations out there on what you just told me. Now, not everybody understands that. So I would say to those individuals that put that out there on social media, they're just not in a place where they understand how we process, right? Because we know when I turned on the TV today after I'd been in my I'm in my awareness, and I decided, let me turn on Wendy Williams. And it wasn't Wendy. It was it was the news. I looked at it and I thought, okay, I turned it off, because I knew that in this moment where I am in my home in Chicago, there was not a place in that moment that I could, in a positive way, impact that, nor did I want to carry any of that negative energy. And so, if anything, I think much like Althea already said it, we can make choices about the vibrational level that we want to live on. And I don't really care anymore what people think about that.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Not giving a crap what people think. I'm not sure what words I'm allowed to say, or I'd be dropping F-bombs about every fifth word. So.
Yeah, I think we're not doing the F-bombs, but I think crap is okay.
Rats.
I'm gonna guess.
You said worse things than I did. I just said crap.
I think like what what came up for me is that a part of me, I don't know if it's true when I'm saying I didn't care, but I didn't feel any need to care. And then I was like, oh my God, as if you don't care. And I was like, but the thought was, do you know, like, how much stuff we're aware of now every day? I can't afford to care. Not unless it's like something I can be inspired to assist and it feels productive. Like, I can't afford to be traumatized day after day. Like,
I think that
letting go of the guilt.
And we're just, so everybody knows, we're down to like a minute 8, 7, 6. I think we get into the, you know, the meanings of the words of, you know, compassion and empathy and sympathy and caring and all of that stuff. And there's such weighty words. I mean, I did a whole post about compassion. Like, it's, we could have a whole conversation about all of this maybe another time, because it's, there's expectations of how people are supposed to react around things. And it doesn't mean that we're not caring people.
So,
you know?
Diane, why don't we do a clearing for everybody that's watching if they wanted? Just anything that brought up for them around shock and trauma.
You go, Althea. We got 30 seconds. Do it.
All right.
Go, girl.
There we go. Anyone watching that wants this, watching the replay, anything for shock and trauma, anywhere you feel like you got to contort yourself into what other people expect you to do when there's any type of global crisis and all that. Horrific events, anywhere that's trapped in your systems. Anything else you require and you'd like to let go of right now? And take your power back, people. Stop playing victim. You're done. There you go. Integrate.
Good night. Thanks everybody for coming and playing with us.
Love and light.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Desi Arnaz Jr. Welcome to Letting Go with Guy Finley.